Hello, welcome to Cinema Club. Steve was making me laugh. Um, this week I picked. I was kind of going with the theme that we were doing of like picking movies that we saw in our youth and that we had liked when we were young, revisiting them. So I chose Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet. Um, it the 1996 it's from 1996. It stars Leonardo DiCaprio and uh, Claire Danes. I almost said Kate Winslet. So Titanic. But this was the year before Titanic, and it was right on the cusp of Leo becoming a star. And there's a lot to talk about with this movie. So let's get right into our initial thoughts. I'm going to start with somebody who I feel like never goes first. Steve.
Alrighty. That was a surprise. First impression, initial thoughts. Never seen this movie. Would have never seen this movie if it was for Cinema Club. But it seems like a movie that I would have definitely loved when I was younger because I was such a theater kid. I grew up in theater before I got out of Hollywood and stuff. And yeah, so like to have like a modern adaptation of like Shakespeare would have been like, oh my God, that is so edgy, so cool. I will memorize the script type thing.
Yeah.
Now it was a different watch for me, but again, first time seeing it. The thing that like popped me the most, it was almost like me reliving wrestling when they have surprise entrances, was just the surprise entrance of like all these different people that I know. Like not personally, but like I was not expecting Paul Rudd to be in this movie. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I wasn't expecting like John Leguizamo. I was like, holy snap. And he got a nice role. You know what I'm saying? I still have questions, like why did they did, you know, my guy, is it Montague? No, the Montague is the
Mercutio. Mercutio.
Mercutio. Why
Mercutio.
did they do Mercutio like that? Why they shot him first, huh? Because he's black? And then they shoot John Leguizamo because he's Latino? Like, I'm like, yo, this is problematic as yeah. Like, and then at the end we have a Titanic ending. You know what I'm saying? This is just Titanic again, but in land. It's basically the Titanic in land. It's basically what it is. That's my first impression.
I'm dying. As if it's because he's black and he's Latino. It's not based on Shakespeare.
Right.
But really made me laugh. Okay, next let's go with Marina.
Yay! This was also my first time watching this
Oh my
movie.
gosh, you guys.
Yeah.
Wow.
Realistically, I don't think I've ever watched a Romeo and Juliet movie ever. None of them. I
Okay.
looked it up to see how many there were. Obviously, I know the premise. People joke around about it all my life, but I'm the complete opposite. I am not a theater nerd. I'm one of the only thespians I know that strictly loves television and movies. I really can't sit through a play. So I don't know if it was a disadvantage not liking, um, not knowing the original Shakespeare script because I had zero idea that this was going to be modern. One, I don't know why. Just seeing like the cover, I thought it was going to be the olden times, which is where the play comes from. I didn't realize it was going to be modern, and I didn't. And I didn't realize that it was gonna keep the original script. That was, like,
Mhm.
such a weird thing for me because, like, again, I don't know if it would've been better if I knew the original script. Like, obviously, I knew there's gonna be these and thous and stuff, but, like, I was like, "If it's going modern, then it's just gonna be a modernized version of it." But no, it's, like, straight up them, like, reciting the play, and I was like, "This is pretty crazy." Like, it took me a second to kinda connect because, like, again, I don't really know what the screenplay like, the play was word for word, so sometimes what you're watching and what you're hearing doesn't register. I had to rewind it a few times because 'cause I'm like, "What did he just say? Like, what's gonna happen next? What's the beef?" Like, I really wasn't connecting at first, and then eventually I got into a groove of it. So it was cool, I'm not gonna lie, it was a cool concept. I don't think I've ever really seen that before, where they take an older play, make it modern, but keep the original writing. But yeah, overall, good to finally cross it off my list. It's such an iconic thing, right? There's so many movies that have adapted from this whole, you know, we go down together concept. So yeah, and like Steve said, all the cameos were crazy. Like some people I didn't even know acted that young in their life. Like I was just like, wow, I'd never seen some of them so skinny. I never seen I, some of the costuming. I was a little worried we were gonna see some booty cracks, but they kept it. They kept it kosher. You know, it didn't. It was creative, but it didn't go too far. So it's very, really good first impression from a person who's never sat down and watched an entire Romeo and Juliet, and just I think it did really well.
God, this is so fun already. Two people who haven't seen it, and we got booty crack reference. I love it.
I love the booty crack reference.
Let's go to Dino. What were your first impressions?
What? Not first impression. I actually saw this in the movie theater.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so Misa Youngin when I seen it. Probably shouldn't have. I was, I think, 11. But my brother's 3 years older. It was when my mom was she was in the U.S. working on her PhD, and Victor was, I think, a freshman in high school, and I was in 6th grade, and I think they started reading Romeo and Juliet, and so the movie was out, and someone thought it was a good idea to go and see a modern take of Romeo and Juliet. So I had no idea, but it blew my mind in the sense we talked about it last time that Michaela of like the introduction of a character and Tybalt. I mean, John Leguizamo, like I wanted those boots. I wanted to start smoking cigarettes. I wanted a scope for a gun that I didn't have. I wanted wear vests. I wanted all. That introduction of the character and the like, it lives rent free in my mind till this day.
Yeah.
So I watched it, and I'm sure at 11 I went in barely even knowing Romeo and Juliet. I think I mean I knew probably, I don't know if from Chespirito, from Chapulín Colorado, that they did a version of Romeo and Juliet, I think. So I might have known the story, but not to the extent of everything that went into it. And this time around though, I had no idea Paul Rudd was in it. And Mercutio, that was a thing that you're 11 and you're watching and you're just like, ooh la la, what the hell is that? Like, what is going on? A lot of things for an 11-year-old, Paraguayan 11-year-old living in Alabama at that age, watching all at once. Because it was also the first time around black people, because we don't really have black people in Paraguay. So being in Alabama and all that, I'm like, this is wild. So many different layers. Again, visually, it's an amazing movie. I mean, whatever you want to say about over the top and all that, visually, and with the sound and the music choices and everything, stylistic, it is great. The helicopters, all that. Like this time around, definitely recognize like, oh, that place is Globe Theater, or all the different lines from the different Shakespeare plays that were in different places. So I got all that, but boy, do I think like after after the party and all that, that movie drags. It just drags for me. It just so boring. I'm just like, I was basically just like, let me see, and that's where I was like, Paul Rudd. What the hell is Paul Rudd doing here? And then I was like, oh, that guy looks like Seth Rogen. And so but great cast. Dennehy, like just really good, great actors, like theater actors, background, all that. And Mercutio and Tybalt steal the movie for sure, I think. So that's kind of my thoughts of initial reaction, that I was 11 and it blew my mind. And I had watched it maybe once or twice after that, because I think when we did, once I got into high school, I think we ended up watching the 1960s Romeo and Juliet, and then followed by the 96 Romeo and Juliet, just as a way of like, look at different interpretations and adaptations that you can do with the old script. So yeah, that's it.
So just real quick, do you still feel like the movie drags after the first act, or was that your initial erection as a kid?
I got bored with it. The over, I mean, overacting, but I mean, yeah, I knew the story and I knew maybe all the everything that happened, and so I kind of was just daydreaming of being in that world instead of watching necessarily like
The
over
world.
the top Leo DiCaprio. A lot of yelling. There's a lot of yelling in it as well. So yeah. I know. I heard the same thing, yo. Steve, I heard the same thing, and I was like, didn't have that at 11. All right.
All right, let's go to Jason.
Thank you. So this is not my first time seeing it. I saw this movie on VHS. I rented it. Um, I'm not sure why I rented it. Don't remember, but I mean, I just did. Because I mean, I knew who Leonardo DiCaprio was. I had seen him in a couple things before this for sure. But I mean, you know, it's like the hot new release of blockbusters. So I saw it, and I remember it was my English class. This is like my freshman year of high school. My English class, I was really disappointed because every once in a while we would get to watch a movie in our English class, and they picked Romeo and Juliet like right after I had rented it, like a week after I had rented it. And I was like, "Oh man, come on!" Like I was really pissed off about that, just because I wanted to see something different. But I love this movie. Like, this is my first introduction to Baz Luhrmann. And you know, this isn't a musical, but he finds a way to sort of make it into a musical, and the music is like such an important part of this movie. I mean, it's everywhere, and there's tons of remixes, and it's sort of like it's without flaw. Like all the music is just brilliantly placed in this thing, and you know, the covers of like the Prince song and that little kid singing in the church.
Mhm.
Like if they had like choirs like that in Catholic church, I'd be there every weekend. Like, and I would go to mass on Tuesdays because it's incredible. Um, Great opening sequence. Like I really loved like this movie. It starts off so frantic, which I think like you have to start off a
Mhm.
movie about Shakespeare geared toward teenagers like this. You know, just like frantic and hectic. And I think Jamie Kennedy kind of sets the tone for that with his character. That it's only around for the first scene. You know, the guy who wants to quarrel or whatever, is being encouraged to quarrel with the Montague or the Capulets or whatever. And yeah, it's just like these, and also this movie is sort of for me like quintessential mid '90s. Like this movie just feels like the mid '90s, and I love like Venice Beach being
Verona
the
Beach.
setting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so amazing. Like I just remember like always after seeing this movie, like I always wanted to go to Venice Beach, and I fell in love with Venice Beach after having seen this film, and I still love Venice Beach to this day, probably because of this film. It's just the art direction for that is incredible. I
It
agree with
wasn't filmed
Dino.
there.
What no?
It wasn't filmed there.
It
It's
was
not
actually
film. Where's the
filmed
film?
in. No, I know, but I
Filmed.
thought it was filmed in Venice Beach too the first time I saw it. But when
Where's
I
the
was
film?
looking it up this time, it's Mexico
Mexico,
City and Mexico beaches.
Oh, no
Santa
kidding.
Cruz,
But I think
I
it is
believe.
supposed to like be like a Venice Beach vibe based
It
on
looked
like
like
the
Venice
aesthetic.
Beach.
Yeah, based on like, and it's called Verona Beach, and like I feel like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
kind of like in my head it was
So
Venice Beach, so I feel that he's trying to like capture that feeling a little.
so they
absolutely.
built that they built all that for the movie, like Globe Theater, all the facade and the little theater and stuff on the beach there. And then there was a hurricane in Mexico, and it completely destroyed all the sets that were on the
Oh
beach.
wow.
So the actual scene where Mercutio is about to die or whatever, and you can kind of see the weather in the distance. That's the hurricane, I guess. That's the storm
Um,
coming in.
Oh,
So
that's
I guess
incredible. I didn't know that.
they had to pick up shots after in other kind of areas after the hurricane destroyed like all their sets on the beach. Yeah.
Nice. It's pretty good to know. Well, I mean, it definitely has those vibes for sure. Uh, Also, like I agree with Dino on all the like the costuming and the guns. Like I so badly wanted a gun where the bullets were exposed and had like Catholic symbolism like painted on it. I also wanted a cool vest or shirt with like the Virgin Mary on it, and like that whole like facade that they had was just absolutely incredible, and it matched the clothes and it matched the setting and the cars. Just the art direction in general was just really like bold and beautiful and kind of brave, and they did something like really interesting there. And also I guess it kind of has to be like teen culture and they're trying to express themselves, so to have like cool cars and clothes like all makes sense. And technically they're rich kids, so they did a real good job of like putting all that together for me. Um, there were some things that I appreciated more this time, and I've seen the movie a bunch of times, mind you, but there were some things that I appreciated more this time than I appreciated other times. We'll get into that a little bit later,
Yeah, I wanna hear that.
I'm sure. I also thought about this time. So I also always thought Mercutio was a very cool Shakespearean character, and then I thought like this time, like it's very bold for them to introduce that character in complete drag for like the whole second act of the movie, almost like the whole first act he's introduced, and then like half of the second act he's in drag. Like
Yeah.
we don't even get to meet the real him until much later in the movie. Till he's like out of costume and out of character, and I was like, that's a really bold choice, and I wonder how the actor felt about that at the time. And and I thought about like them to make a movie where there's a huge like main character in drag and multiple drag scenes in the movie. Like I wonder, this movie probably wouldn't get made today like that. Like there would be so much outrage with like such a like movie like this being pushed, and like I don't remember anybody questioning it. I don't remember everybody saying anything like negative or just having any
Well,
opinions about it at all, like when I first saw it originally.
I
it
think
would be
I think
woke,
oh, sorry, go
and
ahead.
then they would say he would have been a DEI. Then Mercutio, like, well, they're Italian, they're not black, so who
Well,
knows what they would be saying this time around for it.
I
Yeah,
think
weird times.
I think that back then it was like because there was so much of the media representation of people in drag in the 90s was it's their joke, right? So like trans people, men who dress as women are it's for a punchline, it's a joke, they're weird. So I think it wasn't really like questioned or talked about because it's a choice, a directorial choice, a writing choice to show that he is a clown and like doesn't take things seriously and is funny and like not afraid to be like that.
Mhm.
So I think that is such a bold character introduction, and it is really fun that you see him like that. But you immediately know that he's like this clown who doesn't take himself seriously to the point where he's like willing to gender bend.
Yeah. Yeah, or just stay in costume for like the first 30 minutes he's on screen. It's like crazy.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
actors don't want to do that, right? But also, so I'll just wrap up my final thought with this. Like I still like this movie very much. I think, this is kind of like Baz Luhrmann's coming out party. I think it's Leo's coming out party, Claire Danes as well. Just doing like really like important work in Hollywood and sort of like solidifying themselves as all stars. Um, and I will say I still got feelings from watching this movie. Like, so I mean that's how I know like it's really well done. Like with the scene when Romeo and Juliet first meet each other, I got goosebumps.
Oh my
I
God.
wasn't expecting that when I was watching it. I was like, holy crap! Like I feel all of this. Like I feel it. So I was like, this is a really well done film. But those are my initial thoughts.
Thank you guys. Up next is Michaela. That's me. I'm the only one left. Okay, I was really surprised at how I felt because I really thought that maybe I'd find this too. I find Baz Luhrmann like, he's so hyper stylized, and it's not really for me all the time. I didn't love Moulin Rouge the way so many people did. It just like he doesn't always work for me. And I mean, who knows? I haven't seen Moulin Rouge in so many years. Maybe I rewatch it and love it now. I don't know. But I do remember loving this as a kid and thinking it, like, kind of having the reaction that you had, as a kid, being like, "Oh my God, this is so exciting and blows me away." And watching it again now, I was really impressed, and I think that there are just so many brilliant and bold directorial choices that really bring out what Shakespeare was doing with the story in a very like nuanced and just amazing way. I think like because the story is really about two kids, right? Like they're two kids who are feeling what they think is real love, and but they're kids and they're making impulsive choices and they're acting like children and they're not, you know, and it's tearing apart families and they're like representing what their family is in this like kind of reduced, innocent way, and they're blowing up their whole lives and their families because they think they're in love. And there is a lot of humor in the script, and I think that Baz Luhrmann did such a good job of like, especially in the beginning. I don't know. I think it was Dino. You said it like how, or maybe I don't know if it was Dino or Jason saying how in the beginning it's like the camera and the way it's shot. It's kind of like it's fast and kind of intense, and I feel like that really tells you that this is funny. Like when you see Jamie Kennedy and you see these characters, you're like, this is a funny scene. These are funny characters. It's ridiculous. And it is absurd, like hearing this Shakespearean dialogue with this setting. But I feel like it works really well because it is funny and it does work with the style. And then I felt like the romance moments, like I was really into them. Like I got chills seeing the fish tank scene with Romeo and Juliet where you see them. I was like, that is shot so well. I remember loving it as a kid and loving the music and like could not have thought that there was anything more romantic as a child. But like watching it now, I still felt that. I still felt that it was like, I was like, God, this is shot so well. It's so beautiful. Like Leo leaning against the glass and then how the camera goes around and you see her against the glass and you see each of them in the reflection and the music. And it's just so romantic and I definitely got chills. So I felt like it did a really good job of like honoring the comedy and like knowing how to bring that out when it was there. And then also like really bringing out the tragedy and the romance. Like Mercutio dying is so tragic. That actor, Harold Perrineau, I think his name is, he is unbelievable. He's so incredible. He's one of the best people in the film. Also, John Leguizamo is like amazing in everything. So you just like want more of him. But I was really, sorry, I can hear John talking. I was really impressed and surprised. She's so loud, sorry. The most with Leo. Like I forgot how good he was, and I think that he carried the film really well, like throughout with his performance. Like Claire Danes is really great, but I was really impressed with him. I don't think he was over the top. I wasn't bothered by any of his screaming because he's a teenager. He's dramatic. He's a teenager who thinks that his life is over because he's not going to be able to be with this girl. Like it's so over the top and dramatic because that's how it is in the play. And I feel like he does a really good job with this like difficult dialogue, making it so believable and earnest. And I thought he was really good. So I was really surprised by him. I was like, man, he really was a movie star before he was a movie star. Like he really like, I understand why he blew up and why he became what he became. But yeah, I have so many thoughts. But overall, I liked it. I didn't find it boring at all or like slow like you did. You know, you said the second half kind of went downhill for you. I didn't find that. I was pretty engaged the whole time, and I thought the ending was really powerful. And I liked how they modernized the narration by having a newscast saying it. I thought that was really creative. I thought that he did a really great job with it. So overall, I was like really impressed.
You know what's funny, Michaela, that you mentioned that. I was thinking when the movie first started that it almost feels like Baz Luhrmann directed this movie for the TikTok generation. Because like it's a Shakespeare movie and it's so fast and it's jump cuts and it's all over the place. But remember, the movie starts off with the monologue. I mean, just like the play. But they also show like a trailer almost for the movie of everything that's about to happen in the movie, like really fast cuts, just to make sure like, it gets your engine going before the movie starts. And it's like, that's for kids. That's for teenagers. Like, hang on, guys. All this is about to happen.
Yeah, there were a lot of like those moments. Yeah.
Even to the point of it being like in 2 hours and like from opening to end of credits. It's exact 2 hours.
Which is what the play, he says in the play at the beginning, he says in 2 hours.
That's right.
Maybe why I'm like it's over the top, or I just get bored at the not bored necessarily, but I'm just like, all right, another of a great film that I really like is Hot Fuzz, and they kind of make fun of this movie in Hot Fuzz of like Romeo and Juliet production that kind of does an homage to this Romeo and Juliet.
We reference that a lot while we were watching it. We're like, it's so funny that they reference this version of it. And it's like an old guy playing.
So that's all I can think of, and just like so many candles. Did anyone catch on fire? Like
John was like, fire hazard.
Yeah, like they didn't have LED candles back then.
The set design was amazing. Well, all those candles, I'll take it. They like.
I know. I'm so like, this needs to be my funeral. I need all of this.
Like that, like there were so many candles and like twinkly lights in all of the romantic scenes, candles and twinkly lights, all of them. And I was
very whimsy for sure.
Yes, and very like magical, and created that. And I just thought that was like the set design was amazing. I think she was nominated for an Oscar for the set design, and I think I looked up. I think it's the only Oscar nom they got, but that was gorgeous. I like could not. There was like a couple scenes where I was like, the set. I would like pause it and look at the set. Like, this is so beautiful. I loved the production design. I thought it was amazing.
All I gotta say is, every lady watching this film right now, if you find yourself someone that looks the way at you, like Paul Rudd was just dancing with Juliet and not paying attention to Juliet, just side piecing, you gotta marry that man because he is just focused.
He was laser focused on her, and she was like laser focused on Leo.
It was so amazing to see that character. Like I didn't have a chance. Sometimes I like to look up like how many credits do these people have before this, because I've never seen them look this young. But like the sarcastic, aggressive actor that Paul Rudd is now, it's like it was so cool to be like, wow, we really got to start somewhere, because he is playing the ditziest little rich kid that has zero idea that this girl's not interested in him, and he's smiling and he's got like a haircut like this. I was like, this is so crazy. Like, you have to take those first roles, and like, wow, like he's Ant-Man now, but he was like an ant of a character in this movie. It's like,
well, I was thinking that too, Marina, and I thought about it, and I was like, but wait a minute, Clueless came out 2 years before this movie.
oh, did
And
it?
he is that wisecracking sort of smarmy guy in Clueless.
Yeah, this movie had a lot, like we said, like a lot of like big names, and like some of them were right at the start of their career, like with Jamie Kennedy, and then there were like bangers like Paul Sorvino, who was was so good. Brian
Perfect.
Dennehy. Well, Paul Sorvino
Perfect.
has more like screen time than Brian Dennehy, but I was blown away by Paul Sorvino.
Yeah.
There was one scene with him and God, I don't
Juliet?
know. Yeah, I think it might have been the scene with him and Juliet. I can't remember, but there was one scene where I was like, God, that scene was so well acted. Like he's so superb, and like
him and Mercutio. I mean, him and Tybalt. That scene was great when he set the net
That's the scene I'm talking about. That's the scene.
When he
blew my mind.
Leguizamo, like
yes. Leguizamo is like one of the greats. And this is one of those movies that I feel like people really they think of when they think of him and his good acting work, and it makes sense because he's not the star, but he does steal the show when he's on screen.
100%.
So does Harold Perrineau. He's like unbelievable. Like I understand why there's so many close-ups on him because he's so engaging. Like I felt like, it's really
there's close-ups on his teeth in this movie.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed.
Go ahead.
I really enjoyed seeing this role for him because, like, I was a little young when this came out, so didn't see when I was a kid. For some reason, I just never ended up watching it. But so to me, my intro to Harold, I'm not even gonna try to say his last name. Is
Perrineau, right?
Yeah, I think it's Perrineau.
I believe you. I'm not gonna do it, but no.
HP
is like best man, like
best.
But yeah, I never have seen him act this young. So like first time I've seen him, he's playing a best friend in a four-man friend group. They've got their story, they've got their drama. So a couple of the things that I've seen him in more recently, he pushes the envelope on his masculinity and his character. And I it's cool to know that that's how it all started because I was like, they got this black man having to do all this crazy stuff now that he's older. But no, I'm happy to know that he kind of likes it. He probably, has a theater background and like he likes probably dressing up and like getting into these roles. So it was kind of helpful for me because to me, it was like, you took this man from these serious father figure roles and you got doing all this crazy stuff. Like he's in Claws and he does like, he ends up being like a stripper in Claws. And I'm just like, what is going on? But it's nice. It helped my heart to know that he probably loves getting into these characters.
I
And
know
like
him from Lost, where he's like I think of him in Lost. Did you
I
guys
never
watch Lost?
but Best Man came out before then, right? It was like
What was Lost? Like
I
2000?
feel like Best Man probably came out before Lost. I know him from Oz.
okay.
Oh my gosh, this is crazy. We all know him from different things. Because to me,
Best
I'm like,
Man was
it's obviously Lost because everyone knows him from Lost. Like that's how it feels to me.
Best Man came out in 99. Lost started in 2004. But let's just be real. It's the Best Man is probably like a more like it's a movie that your black parents show you probably a lot quicker than anybody else. Like it wasn't like as like put on stream as the second one that came out a couple years ago. Like when they revamped it, I feel like that was a little bit more like everybody watched it. Best Man Holiday. But like yeah, Best Man was like Friday. Like you weren't watching it if you probably weren't growing up like in a black home. But like so to me that's where he came from. I didn't even know he dabbled in Shakespeare in his youth. Like I didn't it was a pretty cool moment for me because I was very thrown off going from seeing him in this like four best friends thing to like his character in Claws where he's playing someone that's like on the spectrum and like starts being a stripper and I was just like what is happening what to him, but it's good to know that he does like to play these characters. I hope that he just like and he's been doing it for a long time.
This is one of those roles where I look at him and I'm like, oh, you're a thespian because like I feel like there were a few people in the movie. Like this movie was loaded with great actors, but there were a few people that like kind of stuck out more to me as having that the Shakespearean language was more of a struggle for them. Like, who's the guy who's like his best friend, not the Jamie Kennedy, the other one?
The cousin?
I think it's the cousin. Also, like white,
Benvol-
kind of dumb looking. Benvolio. Yes,
Benvolio.
Benvolio. I thought he was like good and doing like a good job with it, and I understood what he was saying. I felt like he knew what he was saying, but he didn't transcend for me. Like Mercutio, Harold was like, it was like that was the way he speaks all the time. It felt incredibly natural. And especially doing Shakespeare comedy, which that role is a funny role, who's also a tragic character, but a funny role, Mercutio. And like, that's hard to do because there's a lot of rhyming. He makes it so natural.
Right. Maybe more than anybody else in the movie.
I think more than anyone else in the movie. He's like the number one, like, it didn't sound like Shakespeare coming out of him. And I felt like everyone kind of did it differently. Like I said, I thought Leo was incredibly strong. Like Leo was ever present. I felt like I felt like he really embodied the character and who the character was and did a wonderful job with the language and like the meaning. Paul Sorvino, John Leguizamo. I thought Claire Danes did great. I thought there were like a lot of great acting, but he was the one where I was like, didn't even hear the poetry. You just hear the meaning.
Yeah, for sure. Honorable mention, the brother from Bring It On.
100%, Jesse Bradford. And that's a good little role for him. Balthazar. That's a good little role for him.
Yeah, he's
the black eye. There's a lot of stuff that happened in the making of the movie. The black eye was from an actual fight at a bar in Mexico.
No way.
And they were gonna cover the black eye, and then they just kind of decided.
Jesse Kennedy.
Yeah, but Baz Luhrmann, he liked it, so it was like, let's just kind of write it in.
I thought that was a choice.
The makeup artist or something got like kidnapped, and Buzz had to like they're in Mexico, and he had to pay I don't know how many hundreds of dollars just to like yeah. So
Wow.
crazy stuff happening there.
Wow.
But you also brought up the priest is the only one who actually speaks in iambic pentameter though. Like even though it's script very much iambic pentameter style, they weren't because again they were doing it more modernized and all that. But the priest actually had the iambic pentameter going. To me, also as a kid, Paul Sorvino looks like one of my best friend's dad, and then the maid also looks like I think
She's
one of my
great.
friend's mom. Like it was just like so. As a kid, I always kind of noticed those things.
That he looks like one of my friends' dads too. So that's crazy.
He kind of looked.
Paul
He kind of
Sorvino.
got that look, like
Yeah, he looks like a dad.
friend's dad. Yeah, he's kind of
Yeah.
got that look.
Oh, just
I
to
was
go back to that one scene that he has with Sabalt, you know what makes that scene so like he's like a legitimate good actor because when the scene starts, he's drunk and he's
yeah
happy,
Yeah.
and
yeah
then like Sabalt threatens to break up the party, and he's like no, then he's like trying to convince him and soothe him like don't mess up my party, man, and then he becomes angry with him.
And
He goes
he's
through like
yeah
terrifying.
3 or 4 emotions
Yeah,
in that short little bit,
yeah.
and it's like it's all there. It's terrific.
and he's
It's very
scary.
Yes,
yeah. It's
and he's
very
scary. Yeah,
it's very much Christopher Tony Soprano moment also of like they're we got to put respect to your name type of thing, like this is gonna look bad on you or whatever if you don't blah blah blah, and that's where he like
yep.
I'll show you like that
Yeah.
flip right there is yeah. The only thing I kind of wish like Dennehy, like oh man I love Brian
I wish
Dennehy, but
he's
like
so fantastic. I wish he was in it more because he is
yeah
superb. Yeah.
like man, that would have been great. See, like his gun, like the sword, like his, like what did he have, like a Uzi or like almost, yeah,
I
so
so
great.
wanted
And
him and Dennehy and Sereno to have a scene together. It's like, and I knew it wasn't going to happen. We're like, they got a scene together. They got to be able to act together, but there's not. It's
Yeah.
weird. Like I wanted it.
they're in the room. They're in the room with the sheriff, right, with the
Right.
prince,
Yeah.
right, who also great actor. What's his
Yeah,
name?
he was really good.
He was in a bunch of
Bondi Curtis
character.
Hall.
Yeah,
I don't
I
think I've ever seen
mean,
him that young. I feel like I know him more as an older actor as well.
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
want
he was
to.
And
terrific.
I want to ask you guys. A lot of times we do these and we talk about our favorite scenes, and there's definitely room to talk about that. But I think it would be interesting to know because, like, since this is an adaptation and they did update, like, obviously there are things in this script in this version that weren't in Shakespeare's version. So I'm curious about like something that was adapted or a moment or a scene that you thought was creative or you liked or that stood out to you.
Good question.
Well, I'll go first because I probably have like the least to input here because I've never sat down and watched the play or the original concept. But if I could just like off the top, I think like it was very interesting how they opened the movie. Like I'm pretty sure there was a duel in the play with probably swords and they're doing it with guns at a gas station, and I literally was so nervous. I'm like, this is not gonna fit, like the words that they're saying and like this gangster meetup moment isn't gonna work, but they pulled it off pretty well. I was so nervous. I was like, are they really out here mobbing at the gas station with Shakespeare? Like, I was like, what is gonna happen? But it was really well done, and it really introduced you to some characters. And like, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say that I'm gonna go try to see the original, but I feel in my heart that that was really well done.
Yeah. I think for me, there was like a lot of things, like I like the fact that the swords, they made them the guns, and I thought that was really creative way that they had like the guns would say things like dagger or rapier, which is like a type of sword.
Incredible.
I thought that was just really creative and clever because they could have used daggers. Like they could have been, like this could have been set in Europe where their guns aren't prevalent and they could have been stabbing each other because that doesn't happen in Europe. Like they could have done that. And so to make it guns, which is incredibly like modern and 90s and very gang, it just felt really cool and creative. And I thought the way that they did that was really creative. And of course, with guns are like, they were all so stylized and they looked awesome. But I was gonna say my favorite like moment, and it's something I didn't really think of. I think watching it when I was younger, but watching it now, I really liked how they adapted. So the scene, the famous scene where he goes and sees Juliet, he crawls the castle wall, and in the play he crawls up her tower, and she's like, she says, "Oh Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo?" In her like from her room, and she's like looking down, and he's like crawled up, and he's like looking up at her, and they have the whole scene like that, and that's how it's always done in all the plays. Like they're talking with him, basically she's on her balcony, and he's right there looking at her, and then he crawls down, and I just loved that it was in the pool, which also was like feels very 90s. I feel like there were a lot of like sexy scenes in the 90s in pools.
For sure.
And so it felt very like of the time, and it also feels very like teenager, like I feel like when you're a teen, I don't know, you're going to pool parties and you're doing I don't know, I feel like sexy energy as in a pool is such a teen thing, or at least to me, because like as an adult, I'm not getting into the pool and being like, make out with my boyfriend. It's like a sex, I don't know, but you would like go to parties and like get in pools and kiss people, or at least that's how it felt to me. But
usually the adults get out of the pool and the kids stay in the pool longer, right?
Yeah, I just there's something about it that like, yeah, it feels like very juvenile, and so just like seeing them in the pool, it had this like innocent feeling, and they're all wet and vulnerable, and I just thought that was so clever and creative, because he could have had them, she could have been on her balcony, and he could have stayed there and done the scene, and it would have worked brilliantly. But to have her like get into the pool, I was just like, what a choice, and what made him decide to do that? It had added a lot of layers, and it looked gorgeous, and it just yeah, it was really like an interesting thing. I noticed that a lot this time. I've never really paid any attention to it before, but yeah. So
I
that
agree.
was
My favorite moment. Sorry to cut in, Jason.
No, please.
My favorite moment was seeing young Paul Rudd cleverly looking and dancing with young Juliet while he's dressed in a full astronaut costume.
And what was the how did that align with the script?
It
They didn't
aligned
have
with the script.
astronauts in Shakespeare's time, Marina.
Gotcha. All right.
Oh, there was no astronauts in Shakespeare time? Is that what you said?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
right.
That's the one thing.
I get it now.
Well,
I like the
use
pool
of
scene too, man. I liked everything that you said about the pool scene. I think it's the best scene in the whole movie because I've never quite seen Romeo and Juliet played like that, and it's way more playful than any Romeo and Juliet. And a pool makes things more playful. And you're right, pools were. I feel like pools were bigger in the '90s. Like pools were the most fun you could have in the '90s. Like it's just like the top of like society. It's the top of socializing was near or in a pool.
Or is that just because in the '90s we were the ones in the pool, Jason, and now you're like, oh no, we don't see it that way anymore?
I mean, I agree with you, but it could be.
I don't think kids want to get in the pool anymore, for real. Not like that. I feel like kids maybe stand around a pool. Like, okay, for example, they're in the pool and they have their scene, and there's something really nice when she walks out of the pool and he says, like, hey, but wait, what about, you're gonna leave me like this? And she goes, well, what else could you possibly get out of me tonight? I've thought about it. I've seen Romeo and Juliet 100 different ways in my life. Exaggeration, but at least 10 or 12 ways in my life. I've never seen it quite the way they did it, where she says, like, what else could you get out of me tonight? And he's like, and then cleverly, like very charmingly, he goes, well, how about your unrequited love? I'm giving you mine, give me back yours. And then she lights up like, oh, okay, I thought you meant sex. I thought you wanted booty.
Yeah, because it's like clearly the way that he's like, you're going to leave me unsatisfied. I mean, it's directed and acted so well that you think.
It doesn't even feel like Shakespeare language. It feels like you don't even think they're, like, at that point you're lost in it and you don't even think, like, you understand everything they're saying. And when she like jumps back on top of him and they fall back into the pool, I'm like, this is totally romantic. This is so cute.
Yeah, their chemistry was off the charts. It was crazy.
We haven't actually mentioned her. Claire Danes like hits it off the park. In roles that can be so sappy and everything, her her youthfulness. I had to look. I'm like, who's Claire Danes again? Because I couldn't recognize her because she has such a youthful look to her, and just her like, I don't want to say that. Is it naivete?
Naivete.
Or
They are, but
yeah,
that's okay to say though, because like in this, like I was saying, like this is about teenagers, and they are young, and they look young. They look like
Yeah.
like she's 17 when she filmed this, and she looks 17. She looks like 15.
Yeah.
And
Well,
he's
in the story,
21.
Romeo was supposed to be 16 and she's supposed to be 15.
I thought, oh yeah, I thought she was supposed to be like 13 or 14. But yeah, they're young. They're
Yeah.
like kids, but they look young too. And I'm glad that they got actors that were young, because like traditionally, this play has been played by people in their like late 20s. It's like people
Right.
who are older who are trained actors. And I love that they got like these young, talented actors. But she does. She has like the most innocent little, perfect skin, porcelain face. Like,
I heard. Did you guys know that like Leonardo DiCaprio was actually the second choice for this film?
Well,
Are you telling the truth right now, or is this a thing?
It was actually the first choice was Danny DeVito. He
All right.
passed.
oh my God.
Well,
You
I was
passed
gonna
on
say
it, didn't
it's both, because they did look into a lot of guys, right? I think Christian Bale, like all the groups. Apparently, they looked at Natalie Portman and they were like, "Oh, she's way too young." Like they said they had her and height-wise and all that next to Leo, and they're like, Leo, what was like 21?
Yeah.
20, yeah, and so they were, and Natalie, I don't, is younger than that, is younger than Claire, and was just kind of like, yeah, this just looks bad. Like
Yeah,
for
she might have been
Hollywood to
like
be
14
like,
at that time.
yeah, for Hollywood to be like, yeah, this just looks bad, and basically we should just not. But
Not
yeah,
that Natalie
so
couldn't have pulled it off, because she was already playing an assistant to an assassin when she was 12,
Mhm.
yeah,
convincingly.
I know, yeah.
So she could have pulled it
Um,
off, but it would have looked weird for sure.
Yeah.
I kept thinking that the girl that was playing Juliet, I kept thinking that she was the girl from X-Men. Like I was like,
no,
the Anna.
Oh, Anna
J-Law.
Paquin.
Yeah, I kept thinking, is that her? I'm like, but
Oh,
something was
Anna, I was.
different with the nose, and I was like,
Okay.
eventually I had to look it up because I'm like, I can't. Is that her? I'm like, is that? I don't know, but yeah.
Like to see her in that and then think of her in Homeland is like, wow,
Yeah,
what
Brittany
a
has range. She has a lot
what
of
a
range.
career of
And she did a lot of bangers in the 90s too. She did like Little Woman, she did this, like she was like knocking them out left. She was like the it girl.
Apparently, I don't know like how accurate, but that
That's
she
Little
was
Women?
also offered Titanic and was kind of like, no,
I heard that, yeah.
I don't think it's good to go back to back type of thing, which I'm like, damn, okay, I guess.
But I do,
You know,
I'm so glad she didn't, because I love Kate Winslet in it, and now we have Kate Winslet, who's a huge star because of Titanic, but also like I think that it's nice that it was Leo with a different woman, you know.
I'm glad you said that about Little Women, because I literally I don't think I dived deep enough into her IMDb, because I kept seeing stuff her as like an older adult, and I haven't watched any of it. Homeland's on my list because I keep hearing incredible things. I heard like the showrunner speak, and it's kind of cool that it's a woman. And I'm like, I need to go back and watch like Homeland. But nah, I didn't even realize she's the one that passes away. Oh my gosh. I also thought that was the girl from X-Men.
Five.
Huh?
Is that the Winona Ryder one? She's in that one?
Yeah. She was the one that passes.
Kirsten Dunst. Yeah.
Mm.
If you were here when we reviewed that, it would have been nice to have another woman.
Oh my God. I just watched it again recently. I love it.
We saw all the Little Women back to back to back.
Oh, you did? Including the one from that shitty one from like the 60s or 40s or whatever.
He's exaggerating. We didn't watch all of them.
Don't get any ideas, anybody. But that's cool. Claire Danes. I need to look her up because she was really good. Really good actress. I would like to see.
She's fabulous. Yeah.
Going back to the scenes of how to do the whatever. So there's usually narrations or witches, right?
Fairies coming in.
That normally start the show, right? Like that's a big Shakespeare thing in pretty much every show. So the use of modern media, having as newscasters, right? Like in the TV as being part of the and kind of throughout it, there's little like them dropping storylines and stuff like that. It's a great way to do it.
It immediately
Like,
sucked me in. When I saw that TV, I was like, damn, that's awesome. Like, what a smart way to use the narration. Because also, like, the
and that's what,
newscaster voice, it has that rhythm, which
Hmm.
really worked with the Shakespeare.
Yep, brilliant.
and that's why when whoever said like this almost fits better with TikTok culture or whatever, I was like, oh yeah, like definitely his style of speed and being hectic, especially the beginning and everything else, is right up there with it. So yeah, I would say using that kind of modern, which other movies and shows, not that they were Shakespeare, but have things like RoboCop when they use the newscasters, right? We've seen so many different movies from like the 80s and 90s that use TVs to kind of narrate or bring up the beginning of the movie or the end, and then to be able to use that with Shakespeare in a new telling, I think it works
Yeah.
really really well. And looking at it now, even has such a cool feel because it's even the old TV, right? Like it's the 90s, but they decided to go with like the more retro TV of
Yeah.
the probably 80s, 70s than the 90s.
I want to mention this before it goes unnoticed. But what do you guys think about the score?
The score
Uh,
is like, I love the music in this. I had this soundtrack when I was a kid, and I used to fall, or like I say kid, but I guess I was a teenager whenever this came out, or whenever I discovered it. But I had the soundtrack, which had the music from the movie, and then it also had score music in it. And I used to fall asleep listening to that song, "I'm Kissing You." I used to just like play it, and I would set it so that my CD player would like repeat it. So it would just keep playing. And there was a version on it where it had like extended score music on the end. And so I would do that one because it was like so soothing and pretty. But it was like I love the romance theme was just gorgeous. I loved how like the music, it would be these songs like the "I'm Kissing You" and then it would transition into the music, and I thought it was like really made you feel the romance. I loved it.
it went platinum 5 times or something like that in Australia. It was like
Oh,
the
Yeah.
number one.
The
Yeah,
soundtrack.
yeah.
I think I have the CD too. I might have it somewhere in this room actually, but um, yeah, I think I might have it. But I remember I also bought it specifically for the Dove's Cry cover, and I don't think it was on there.
Oh
Oh
no.
no.
The Prince stuff was
I do want to
amazing.
say something that I thought was really an interesting choice too, since we're talking about the music, and I want to hear what you guys think about music too. But before I forget it, that's so the scene where the fish tank and it's the song "I'm Kissing You." When you first hear the song, it's diegetic, which is just the film term for when it's like in the movie, and it's like, yeah, I know.
Also about that scene. Like, what a great shot between like his face, the fish, and then her. Like,
It's incredible, and like the way that the camera, it's so good because the shot is on him and he's putting his face up to the chemistry there is crazy, like through a fish tank, and you see her reflected in the fish tank, which is so beautiful. And
Also, mind you, he's high as a kite when that happens.
yes, and it holds for so long, and then it comes around and you get the other side. It's just gorgeous.
So
It's
that's
so beautiful.
Very creative.
just to go back into the sound in a minute, but because you're saying of that, that's like the DP had to figure out how to shoot that because of the glare. Like think about trying to
Right.
film anything with a glass, but you have people on both sides and
Mm-hmm.
refraction happening from water. So
And then
figured out.
moving around, flipping the world, like that's crazy
So
difficult to do.
the only way that they were able to do it was to put lights like fluorescence in the actual fish tank. Everything
Oh,
else, no lighting. The only lighting was coming from the actual fish tank. So to be able to have a shot like that clear of them, and them being up so close to it, worked
Yeah.
beautifully. And that's because light is in coming from inside, and it works because you don't see no glare whatsoever. But going back to your the
Diegetic sound,
digesting music sound.
I just thought that was like a really interesting choice, and I didn't remember it that way because I know that this is your first time seeing it, Marina and Steve, but like I remember that song just being in the movie. I didn't know that it was like in the movie Diegetic, which is a really interesting choice, and it's not done a lot. And it's usually in a big moment like that, in a big romantic moment, it definitely wouldn't be done. It would be laid over on top. So for it to be like a part of the scene and then have it like pull out where like she's singing and it's a performance, it really like adds to this kind of like grounded but magical feeling. Like you feel like you're there, and it makes it like the magic feel like more like intimate and real. Like you just like feel their chemistry more. So I just thought that it was so interesting that he did it like that. Like you could hear her voice echoing, and it's not like how I remember it, but I was like, wow, that's so cool. Like this time it really stood out to me.
And that was
right?
That was the actual artist. That was the actual artist singing.
Yeah.
Right? It was her Desiree. I forget. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it was powerful. Obviously, I think it was like helpful that like he was also on drugs, because it kind of like helped you kind of be in that mind frame to where you can understand that the music is so much louder in his head, because you know what I mean? Like it helped. It made it probably would have been good either way, but it definitely like him kind of tripping out. Wow, it kind of helped.
I have a weird, I don't know if it's weird, a strange question. It was something someone was talking about earlier, and it was about how it was perceived, or what the script or the original whatever. Is it actual love? Is it definitive love, or is just youthful because with Romeo, had been in love and heartbroken because of Rosaline, or Rosalind, whatever her name is, that the priest even brings up. She, and in the screenplay, in Shakespeare originally, it's like 13, 14, 16, is around their ages. And then in this one, like she's gonna be given to someone else. Is it just that idea, like, ooh, unwanted love, forbidden love, right? That it just makes it so much spicier. Is it actual love, like true love, or is it just of the moment? And
you're really bringing up like one of the greatest debates though about this play. Like this is the thing that people like study and debate about this play, which I think is so fascinating. Is I remember in school when we studied this, I remember we watched the 1960 something version with Olivia, I can't remember her name. She's great. And the other guy. But when we watched that and read the play, that was like a big discussion about how, like, whether or not Shakespeare intended for it to be about kids who are acting like kids. And I think that the general like consensus is that yes, it is about kids who are acting like kids, but they feel that the love is real. So there's like still all these real elements of love in there, and like real conversation around love, because it's real to them, but it has these consequences. So it's like a really interesting debate. And I think that the movie did it really well of like, they were young, they looked young. Like when he takes his shirt off, he's like it's not a man's body, in my opinion. Like he looks like a teenager, and they look like teens. They look like kids. They look so young. And you just think you think while you're watching it, you're like, God, they're so stupid. Like, just don't be impulsive. Like, wait. It's, I think that's why the ending is so powerful, is like he doesn't like wait 5 more seconds and sees that she's waking up,
Yeah, it's all miscommunication, right? Like the priest and all that, and like he's batting something so he doesn't see the note being brought up. Which that's different from the play. In the play, there isn't, he dies and then she wakes up. It's whereas in the movie, she's waking up and like sees him, and right when he has the poison and he sees her,
it's better that way.
Yeah.
It's better that way in the movie. It's way more cinematic.
It's so good.
for sure, for sure. But it would be harder to do it on stage, right?
Yeah, of
Like
Yeah.
course.
it's so well done with having the camera from the different perspectives and all that. Which if you're laying on stage and everything like that, you can't really play with that as much. But this time around, maybe more so than ever before, I was just like, man, stupid kids. Like, and I don't know if what else we were watching or I've been watching maybe that I'm like, just communicate, just say it, like ask questions.
Which is also like
Like,
why this is so brilliant, this story, because I have seen Shakespeare, I've seen this, I know what's gonna happen, but I still was like, just do it, like talk.
Yeah.
Like I knew what was gonna happen, but I'm still like trying to prevent it as an audience member. Like just
or this time, just fucking tell Tibble, hey buddy,
yeah.
we're married.
I just got married
love
to your
you.
cousin.
Like,
Yeah.
like they're being so like dark and mysterious just tomorrow and blah blah blah, and it's like, bro, like just say I love you, I am now part of your family, we
Yeah.
can work this. But because they were speaking in iambic pentameter, they couldn't understand each other. That's the problem I think that we've discovered. If they would just speak right, speak American, then
Speak
no
American.
one would be dead.
Yeah, it's
So,
like
Paranoid. Speaking
no,
yeah.
Marina, please.
Well, I was just gonna say, just again, perspective of a person that has a general idea of what Romeo and Juliet's about. Like I was questioning. I'm like, is it a disadvantage to watch this as a grown woman? Because like I was like, this is so interesting that they're risking all this at such a young age. And I don't know what I thought. I mean, as a child, maybe I thought they were a little bit older, and I thought like the lesson was more so like, like you can find love in the things that we hate, and sometimes the hate is not really good enough, and there's good people in both sides. Like that, this is the messaging I always felt from Romeo and Juliet. So I'm watching this movie and these teenagers like willing to kill themselves for this situation, and they've only met like last week. I was like, I get it. I love that you guys love each other. It's beautiful. But like, yeah, I was like, man, would this have been more would this have pulled me in more when I was younger, and and a little bit more hopeful in that young love.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, I don't know, guys. Poison. I was like, what's
Yeah.
I don't know. We're losing our best friends. We're killing, like even like when you think about like West Side Story, like I feel like they're even a little bit older in that movie, to where I feel like, okay, they're risking it all because they're meeting someone as they're like ready
I
to
think
get.
they're like young 20s, like
Well,
late teens,
West
a
Side-
little
West Side-
older, yeah.
Yeah, West Side Story is just Romeo and Juliet in musical.
Well, it is. It's an adaptation, yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like they made them a little bit older, and like I feel like I could go rewatch that right now in my 20s, but and just be like, oh, like this is still. I mean, you don't want anybody to die, but it just feels like they're actually risking it for something real. Whereas
Which
for this,
West Side
it's
Story
like,
movie?
man, the OG.
COG.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
I don't
just
even think I've
wondering.
watched the new
I
one.
don't fuck with that new one.
I haven't seen it, so I just wasn't sure which
Yeah.
I know
one
the
you were.
cinematography is supposed to be amazing. I haven't seen it,
Yeah.
but I'm a purist for the OG, so.
What I think is interesting is that you guys all have, I think, the obvious and sort of prototypical reaction to this movie, like practice patience, and maybe they're too young to even really have these feelings and whatnot. And I'm with you guys 99.9% of the time, except this time I had a different reaction to it. Surprisingly,
Whoa.
I did. I had a different for the
I
first
hear.
time ever watching Romeo and Juliet. My reaction was maybe because I was listening and trying to look for things I've never seen before. But when the movie starts, and I kind of peeped this right away too, because I've seen it so many times. But when the movie starts, Romeo is depressed and lovesick, right? And he's like, really like, learning or whatever the word is for Rosalind, right? And like he's loves this girl who doesn't want anything to do with him. And the only thing, he doesn't even want to go to this party. He just wants to be lovesick on the beach and like be miserable. And his friends get him out of the house, quote unquote. And he goes to this party. And the one thing, and even does drugs to try to forget about it, to have a good time with his buds. The one thing that pulls him out of this depression is this girl. And so like she gives him all these like feelings of love and endorphins and and so now he's like right back in this space of being in love again, and it breaks all the depression, and he's finally happy. It's the only time we see him happy in the movie. And then he loses that, and he's right back into the depression again. And he's like, I can't live like this. Like, I lost two loves in the same week. I'm not, what is life? I'm out of here. I can't do it. And for the first time, I kind of got it. And I was like, I can see why this particular kid who is suffering would not, not be patient, and not even, he doesn't want to be here when the play starts. So it's like, yeah, of course he's almost, he's basically suicidal when he loses the actual love of his life. And I think maybe he did fall in love. Like I choose to believe that. I mean, we could believe whatever we want because it's not say it because they're kids, but I think teenagers can fall in love, and I do think they fall in love right away.
I do think that they do. I do think that they do but like, it's not that it's not real love. It's real to them, like it is the way that, like when I was a teen and I fell in love, no one can convince me it wasn't real.
Sure.
It still was some of the most powerful thing I've ever felt in my life, because it's like you're first and you're young and you have a lot of different hormones surging through you. It's powerful. So I feel like it's not that it's not real. It's just that as an adult reflecting back on it, it's different. And
Sure.
you know that when you're older, that love becomes something different, and it becomes about other things, and it becomes richer, and like it's like more of a wild love when you're young, and it's this instinctive chemistry driven thing. I mean, their chemistry is off the charts. Like, it's so good. Like, I would fight someone if they said they didn't like their chemistry. I'm like, they're like, I was begging for them to kiss even when they were kissing. I was like, do it. It was like so good. Like, I just was eating at their chemistry. Like, you could feel it. And that's like so how young love is. It's so driven by you can't keep your mouth off the other person because you're like, it just feels so chemical and so strong. And I don't think that that's like the issue for me. Is not whether or not it's real. It's just like how that love means so much to them, and it's so big and it's so beyond everything. Whereas like when you're older and you have perspective, you're like, hold up, I'm not willing to sacrifice like everything for love. Like, it's different when you're older, and it becomes something different, and it means something different. And I feel like that's like part of why this play is so brilliant and stands the test of time. Is there are so many like ways that you could look at it and nuances, and that Baz Luhrmann did such a good job of bringing out a lot of these elements, and like even the idea that like love is powerful enough to bring two enemies together, but those enemies never had the chance to come together because love is what ruined it, because they were,
Mhm.
There's a lot of different layers you could look at it. It's just fascinating.
Well, technically, I guess it did bring them together at the end.
Right? Yeah, no, technically it did in death.
Love,
yeah.
Lost. But I do think also like, all right, Romeo, call me crazy. Like, you find your true love on Rebound. Like, your Rebound just happened. Like, the luck to be able to be like that. Like, although I did have friends that felt very much like Leo, like this Romeo of just like falling in love so hard for one, and then like broken up, and then like a week later is like just deeply in love with the lovesick, basically, right?
So I want to like point out one line just related to the Rosalind thing, that it's kind of like the line where when he's leaving the pool and he says, "Are you gonna leave me so unsatisfied?" It's when he's with the priest, and the priest is like, "Wait, aren't you in love with Rosalind?" And he's like, "No, I'm onto this new girl, Juliet. Like, I don't even know that other girl." And he's like, "God, young men are so quick to think with their eyes," or he's like, "They're so quick to love with their eyes." And he says it in just like the perfect way. It's like the perfect amount of pause. Yes, and we're like, we all know that you're. And even as a kid, I don't think I caught that. But now watching it, I'm like, oh, he's clearly meaning like. You guys
He's also relieved that he's not pursuing Rosalind anymore, which I never noticed. He goes, "Oh, thank God!"
Yeah,
like whatever that was going to be a disaster, and he knew it.
Yeah.
But little did he know. I did find that weird. This stuff is like, whoa, why is a priest without a shirt and he's got kids with him? Like, I was like, come on, bro. Like,
what do you mean, why is a priest without a shirt and got kids with him? That's a priest. Hello. Hold on. Hello.
Pardon.
Have you
I
ever
didn't
been to
know.
Catholic church?
Like sweet back cross tat, bro. But really,
The crosses in this movie. That was like a whole
yeah.
thing. The neon
Well,
crosses.
imagery, like it's beautifully done. Like it's so well. But this one more so than before, definitely see the religion trying to meddle in politics. Am I right? The church has always been meddling, which I mean, you could say Shakespeare was pointing that shit out back in the day anyway, of what the different plays that he wrote were about. You know, with during the day with the different nations and kings and all that. But yeah, this one he's like not really sure if that's the right thing to do, if he should support this young love like we're seeing it. But he sees it as a more altruistic kind of view of like, shit, maybe we can stop the killing, right? Like maybe if I help these two kids, then people will stop dying, right? So like I saw that side of it more than the other times I've seen this movie or just Romeo and Juliet. Like the priest really trying to figure a way to like, you know, create peace in their world, you know. And clearly him and the maid and stuff like that are the smarter people in the show, right? Are the which I think is goes to a lot of the working class or the lower class, if you will, tend to be smarter than you know the rich.
Which we also haven't talked about her. She's fabulous. She's a fantastic actor. Miriam Margolyes or Margolyes, I don't know her last name, but she always pops up for like these funny interviews she does because she's such an honest interviewer and will like talk openly about her farts and like sexual escapades. She's just really funny. And probably most well known for like the Harry Potter series, but she's brilliant. She's been in tons of stuff, and I didn't remember her at all in this, and I was like, God, she's really great in this. And also, she's British. She does a really good accent. She's just again like very nuanced with her dialogue. I thought she was like another. Like the acting was superb in this. Like overall, a lot of really strong performances.
True that.
True that. Does anyone else want to bring up anything before we do final thoughts?
I don't know.
No, we covered a lot.
Yeah.
Did we cover all of the people that popped up that we, you know, it was kind of cool to see them out of their element? I think.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there was anyone else. Oh, I did point out that because I'm a Friends fan, and Ross and Monica's mom was one of the moms. She was Brian Dennis.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, she has like maybe 3 lines, but I was like, Judy.
Oh, also Antonio Banderas did a cameo.
Goodness gracious.
As boots.
One of the pink hair dudes.
Have those guys been in anything else? They were so intense. Like
Benfolio, I know I've seen him in other stuff, but I don't know what from.
Malibu's Most Wanted.
Seriously?
Yeah, I'm serious.
I know we also mentioned the costumes a little bit, but I do think that like that deserves a shout out. The costumes, especially like the way they did the 2 different gangs, like the Montagues with the really now iconic like Hawaiian shirts that were always open, and the Capulets with their like all black and the holsters, and like they just looked so fucking badass. I thought the 2 different costumes were, you really knew who was who and who was part of which gang, and I thought that was exciting.
Yeah, I really like that too. And just like, I don't know if it was like good or bad that like you couldn't really understand like what the day was, like what time, like what era this was based on. Cause like even like the people in the background had different, it's just, I couldn't figure out like, did it say like what era this is supposed to be? Was it supposed to be
like 90s fantasy land? I mean, Verona's a made up place. It's not real, you know, so it definitely had that like fantasy element.
Yeah.
Yeah, because even the cars were like super funky, you know,
Yeah.
like the convertible was like the half glass and all that. And I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
the over the top use of the swords, but it's the guns.
And
even,
the
like, the
colors
law.
were really bright, and yeah, I did notice like background characters that I never noticed before. Like there was one moment in the scene at the gas station at the beginning where I love the one woman who like kept hitting Jamie Kennedy with the purse in his face. I was like, "God, that's so funny." And then there was like another woman in a car who was like, she was like something out of a music video. She was like really over the top. Like those little things like really heightened the absurdity and the comedy and made you realize like it's absurd. That's the world we're living in. It's Shakespeare in the modern world. There's bright colors and it's gangs.
Which is kind of all Baz Luhrmann's movies, if you think about it. They're all
Yeah,
sort
they're
of
all
that.
a little ridiculous. I just, I don't always love them. I don't always think they work really well. And I think for this type of adaptation, I think it worked very well and he did well. This was also like his first banger, right? Like he did Strictly Ballroom in '92, and that was kind of his breakout, like his it was a more of an indie movie, and then there was this. This was it, like this was his
Which
big,
kind of feels a little bit like an indie movie, a little bit.
yeah, it has kind of that like indie movie feel.
Well, they were having trouble getting money. That DiCaprio had to go to like Australia and film stuff with him just to get backers, which is weird to think like, oh, a DiCaprio project like struggling to get the budget or whatever, and like.
But at the time, he would have probably only been in like what? Yeah, he was in a handful of really good stuff.
He was in Boy's Life, Marvin's Room, the last season of Growing Pains.
He was in a couple really great movies, but he wasn't like a movie star yet.
No, not at all.
Well, it was his teen love thing, because I do remember. I don't know if it was before or after I got back from Alabama, but one of the American girls that, because in my school we would have American families that would come and stuff like that, and had like teen beat type stuff and like Leo DiCaprio like everywhere. And I remember we were at their house and like The Quick and the Dead was coming out, which is Sharon Stone and Leo DiCaprio and Gene Hackman and Russell Crowe.
94? Was that after this? I thought that was 94. Was it before?
Yeah, that was before this.
Yeah.
But I can't remember if it was. So that's where I remember of Leo DiCaprio, just like this crazy American girl, and like girls actually just like in love with Leo DiCaprio. And I'm like, what is happening? Because again, I'm like 8-10 years old, and I'm like, and then seeing him, I'm like, he's this scrawny white kid. What is?
It's funny because he wasn't my type. Like as a kid, I didn't like Leo. Wasn't like I wasn't obsessed with him when I was a teenager. I was more into like, I don't know, Devon Sawa, I guess, or other people.
Bad Boys.
Yeah, I liked like Ben Affleck. I don't know. Like I had a different type, but now.
What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
What's Eating Gilbert Grape? Yes.
That was 93. And Basketball Diaries was a year before this. So
that was 95?
That was 95. So he was like not a movie star, but he was on the cusp.
And he was ready for something like this, which launched him. Like this movie,
this launched him.
Like this and Titanic, that was it. It's
after Titanic, sealed deal forever.
Yeah.
And I think that before the fact that my initiation to him was through these like Yankee girls that came to Paraguay and wouldn't stop talking about this Leo DiCaprio kid. I every time I would first see him, I'm like, oh my god, this guy. And like seeing it this time, I was like, was he really like this teen beat like hard? Like again, I'm like, man, like.
But it's funny because like for me as a kid, I remember thinking like everyone thinks he's a heartthrob. I don't even think he's that good or that good looking. Like that's what I thought of him as a teen. And now when I'm watching it as an adult, I'm like, he's so good. How does he bring so much of the role at this young of an age? Like he's got so much depth. He understands the role completely inside and out. He's bringing a lot to it. Superb actor. And this chemistry is off the charts. Like he's scrawny. I'm not attracted to him as an adult woman, but I'm like, I get it. Like I can get why people thought he was a babe. Like now I get it as an adult.
Well, yeah, you can see it from different angles now. But I remember when, like I told you guys, they brought this into my English class. I remember the girls going nuts when they had like voted this was going to be the movie we watched. You're like, yes, yes.
I get to watch Leo.
They were like losing it.
Yeah. Back when we watched movies in like 50-minute increments in class. That's how long class was.
15 minutes? Damn.
No, like 50, because that's like how long our classes were in high school. So we had to watch them in
15,
like,
okay.
or like 45 minutes, you know, it would take like three
Yeah.
classes to watch a movie like this, but it was so exciting. Okay, should we go into, oh wait, Jason, really quickly, do you have
Numbers. That's right. So on a worldwide $147 million box office gross, this movie was made on a $14.5 million budget, which would have been not very much even for 1996, considering they had to get everybody to Mexico to make this thing.
That's impressive, yeah. You said 100-something million box office?
147 box office on a
Damn.
14.5 budget.
Nice.
Wow. For people that got points, good for them.
Yeah. I mean, and that has nothing to do with like VHS sales and rentals, and then DVD sales and rentals. This thing probably did triple the numbers in there.
Like the soundtrack, because in Australia, that's what I saw, that in Australia it went like 6-time platinum or whatever the shit it is.
Yeah, I'm sure after all was said and done, this thing probably grossed $500 million.
Yeah. I didn't have the movie, I had the soundtrack. The soundtrack was more important to me at the time.
I think I have both.
All right, so final thoughts. We can go backwards. I'll go first.
Okay.
My final thoughts are I really, really did enjoy this movie, watching it a lot more than I thought I would. I thought I was going to find it really stylized in like a nauseating way. You know, as you sometimes revisit something that you like when you're a kid and you're like, it doesn't hold up, it's like too flashy or whatever. But I think it really worked for what Baz Luhrmann was trying to do with his adaptation. And I feel like I really appreciated how it brought out the story. And I'm like I said at the beginning, I think Leo was incredible in this. Like, this is probably, you know, he's done a lot of amazing performances, but this is one of my favorites from him, even though he was young. I think that's why I like it so much, is because he was so young and brought so much to it. And that is surprising to me that he was really able to carry this movie. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I would definitely recommend it to people, especially if they're like, I've never seen it. I'm like, oh, you've got to watch it. It's canon. I do think it's canon. I feel like it's stylistically unique. It stands alone stylistically. I haven't really seen anything else like this, and it really is an exemplary model of how to adapt Shakespeare to something that's hyper modern, hyper of the time. I really think this is a great example of that. So I definitely would recommend it to people who haven't seen it, or if they have seen it like us, who watch it when we were kids, I'd like definitely rewatch it. It holds up. It's a fun rewatch. And fun to see all these actors that we know and love now. And I would definitely watch it again. I think it's super fun. It's not like going to be something I watch all the time, but maybe I'll play that love scene and just listen to the music while I fall asleep, like I did when I was a teen. So maybe I'll do that. Who's next? Jason.
So I love this movie, dare I say. I think it's fantastic. I think it's the best modernized Shakespeare film. I don't know if it's the first modernized one, but I think it's the best. It's so inventive, it's so brave, like with what it tries to do. I mean, this in lesser hands, this thing probably could have easily been a flop. I would recommend this movie to anyone because it's Shakespeare, and I think everybody needs a little Shakespeare in their life. And I think because it's so adaptable, like the iambic pentameter and the language, you know, it's not going to be lost on anyone. Like within 2 minutes of the movie, you're on board because of the rhythm in which they're speaking. Like they're speaking in modern rhythm. You don't miss anything. You know exactly what's happening. You understand every word. You understand what the actors are trying to communicate to one another. It's really easy to pick up on. So I think anybody would. So yeah, this thing's recommended to kids, probably of all ages, as long as like they can handle. Well, maybe not the death and stuff, but once you're 12, I think you you can ride with this thing. Maybe for a more mature 12-year-old, but teenager definitely almost probably required. To me, I think Romeo and Juliet is, and if this is the version you get, then you're lucky. Would I watch it again? Yeah, I will watch this thing many more times. Like there's a couple scenes in it that I will probably just pick up and watch on YouTube just because I'm in the mood to see them. So those are my final thoughts.
Excellent. Who's that? Dino?
All right, nice. Yeah, 11-year-old Dino saw it in the movie theaters, and that turned out pretty decently fine. So yeah, 11, 12-year-old could probably see this without any issues, especially now that I would imagine that's another story for another time or story or discussion is like the whole MPAA or whatever, PG 13 R, like at what point is that going to be restructured because anyone with a phone can just get on and look stuff that's completely out of this world of what a kid should or shouldn't watch. I do enjoy the idea, the themes, like the overall thing of this movie. I don't know. Maybe again, it's just that issue I had as a little kid, and Leo and everything that I'm still at times like, oh my god, this guy, you know. But it is it's really well done film, and I was thinking about it. We didn't get into it, but Mercutio being in drag, we didn't even mention the fact that in Shakespeare, right? Yeah, back in the day, it was all man, so it was a lot of drag on stage. So I wonder if that was on purpose of trying to also an homage, if you will, to just like, hey, there was drag in Shakespeare.
That's an awesome observation I haven't even thought of. That's such a smart observation.
And so yeah, and so allowing the more clown character, if you will, being drag, but then that goes into why is it the black actor that's in drag, which is a whole nother conversation, who also happens to be killed. There's so much fun stuff to still discuss about this. But yeah, very enjoyable. I forgot how loud the movie was, guys. And it was loud, but it was hard to understand the dialogue, but that might have just been the version I got. But this is one of those movies that I would definitely, if I'm in LA or somewhere where they're gonna be re-releasing it, or it's like a film print or something like that, at like New Beverly or the Vista. I would love to go see it in a audience with a crowd again. Cause yeah, like 11-year-old seeing it with a crowd is like one thing, and it was very impactful seeing it, but getting it in a completely different scenario now would be very interesting. You know, to see what the younger people watching it think of it. You know, like yeah, what does a 12-year-old, 13-year-old, you know, middle schooler, high schooler think of this movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Too much kissing. That's the thing now, apparently. Right? The youth doesn't like the kissing anymore.
Okay, thank you. I think it was Marina next. Marina.
Yay. So yeah, I really liked it. It was well done because I'm not a typical play person. I was able to be intrigued for 2 hours. It's a long time for a person who doesn't really like plays like that. But it almost makes me want to watch a different version just so I can compare. But there's another part of me that is just a-okay with this being my Romeo and Juliet. Like it works for me. It gets the point across. I would probably rewatch it just so that I can like see it like now that I understand what's happening and that it is a modern movie that still keeps the Shakespeare words. It'd be interesting to watch it again, and I'd recommend anybody who hadn't. You'd be surprised. Like, my husband minored in theater, and he said he had never watched it. So I'm like, man, so many people probably just never thought to, and so definitely recommend it to anybody who has like a love of theater to see like how this was adapted if they hadn't watched it already. But yeah, I really liked it. It was kind of cool to knock it off my list. It wasn't like on like a firm list, but in the back of my head, I'd always wondered if it was good.
Cool.
Awesome. Okay, next is Steve.
The Merchant of Verona Beach.
Final thoughts. I'm just gonna say, if you were able to watch this film and then watch this review, and you haven't seen Titanic, you can, because we actually did the length of Titanic with this and the film, a little bit more, and you can watch the commentary of Titanic, because this film is basically the land Titanic. That's basically what this film is. Those are my final.
Okay, great. All right. Well, then I just only have one question. Steve, what do you have for us next week?
Next week, I am so happy that you asked me, because we're watching Titanic. No, I'm joking. It's Marina's turn. I don't know what she's
Damn it,
saying.
I
So
got so
that's
excited.
just so everyone is aware, everyone who hasn't been in Cinema Club since day one, that joke has been running since like day one of Cinema Club that someone's going to pick a 4-hour Titanic movie.
Oh, get
and
ready.
destroy
I
Cinema
will.
Club.
Get ready. If we haven't done it yet, that's like my favorite movie of all time. So get ready.
Oh my God.
Only time I've been kicked out of a movie was Titanic, but that's a story for another day.
It was too long for you to behave yourself.
Guys, it's Marina's turn. Can you please let her talk?
It's okay. I
Oh,
am
Marina.
I am picking Titanic. No, I'm just kidding. So, 'tis the season, we're getting into the witchy woo. I decided to get us into a little fall behavior, and I am picking the 1998 Practical Magic.
What?
Okay, Practical
it's
Magic.
actually called Practical Magic.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Never seen it.
Witchy woo time. I'm excited. Yeah.
Get a lot of candles and another Australian. Okay, there's the connection. I can see it.
Yeah, that's why I did it. Yeah.
I mean, because they're making a new one.
Yeah.
They are currently filming the sequel.
Oh
I
wow.
have no idea what that movie's about. So
Yeah.
Should be exciting.
It's about two white women selling candles. So for Marina, the Marina Love, El Dondino, Jays_Uncles, Michaela, and me, Steve, the CV, will catch you next week selling candles on Etsy. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye 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 bye.